Hello, everybody. Today I will be talking to you about Joy by Frank Kelly. So, first, little disclaimer, I do have a dog with me, so if you see her jump in and out or hear her in the background, I am very sorry. And here she is. But, anyways, let's get into Joy. So first, I'm just going to go over what all I have, and then I'll go in with each section and tell you a little bit more about it. So right here, I just have a little overview of the composer, the composition, and their rehearsal notes. And then we get into a formal outline, followed by my learning objectives and teaching activities, followed by the final test. Then they have a Joy journal. And then finally, they have our warm-up. So going back to the beginning, here is Joy. So a little bit about the composer, Frank Kelly. He was an American composer of orchestral, choral, chamber, and concert band works, as most of us know. It goes into talking about where he studied at and where he is currently teaching, as well as his degrees that he has. Also, it talks about his compositions and some of his most popular ones. And then it goes into talking about this composition. So this is actually taken from the score itself. And it says, above all, joy is an expression of its namesake, simple and unabashed joy. This piece was actually inspired by the birth of their first child, which is actually so amazing, I think. And then he goes into talking about his rehearsal notes. So it talks about where the main theme is, what the main key signatures are, the episodes, theme 2, the second episode, the recap of the main theme, and then the coda. So next we get into talking about the formal outline. So it basically starts off, we have a 1-measure intro. It's just chords, and then we kick it off into measure 2, where we have eighth notes and quarter note theme, which is the main theme throughout the entire piece. So this is where it really starts in. And then we start building up in measures 5 through 9 into measure 10. And so the main theme goes from measure 1 into the end of measure 17. In measure 16 and 17, we actually have a 2-bar transition into the new key of F mixolydian. We are actually just hinting into the F mixolydian here. And then 18 to 25, we have the new episode 1. We are still in B flat mixolydian, and we are also still hinting, though, at F mixolydian in certain parts of this piece, or in certain parts of this section. So this section, it's a short staccato section, and then we get into a slight ritardando, which in the last 2 measures of 26 and 27. So episode 1 goes in from... Those are the neighbors. I'm so very sorry about that. They are very loud sometimes. I'm so sorry. Anyways, measures 18 through 27 is episode 1, and then we get into 28, which is the main or theme number 2, which is where we are directly into F mixolydian, and it is a slightly slower section. It is the lyrical section of this piece. And then the last 5 measures, we start in a cello rondo back into B flat major. And then from 39 to 50, we are still in the B flat major, with 47 through 50 being a percussion solo section. So, yeah. And then at measure 51 through 54, we have the recap of, at 51, we start the recap of theme 1, and it goes all the way through measure 67. And then at 68, we started with the coda, and we are in B flat major finally, which is the main key of this piece. And then, so here we are into my learning objectives and teaching activities. The first 3 are relatively the same, just recording themselves playing scales at certain beats per minute, and then certain activities that they can do, and then assessments they can do as well. They will also identify key terms and then discriminate between major and mixolydian scales or other scales when determined or when played by the teacher. They will also accurately count rhythms, and then they will also identify climax points and major sections of the piece while they are rehearsing the piece. And then next we move into the final test. So like I said, they are going to have a vocabulary matching. So they take the definition, so like this one, Italian for becoming slower, an instruction to gradually play slower. They would take this letter, okay, so letter D, and then go place it with whatever term they believe it is. It's in the directions. I'm sorry, I'm horrible at explaining this out loud. And then we move into rhythm discrimination. So they will, the teacher will place 6 rhythm patterns below in a random order, and then they will place a number with the correct, or next to the first rhythm played, and then the second, or a 2 by the second, and so on and so forth. Sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. So if this is the first rhythm played, they would put a 1 right here, and then if this was the second rhythm played, they would put a 2 right here, and so on and so forth. And then we get into the rhythm counting, where the teacher will play 3 4x4 or 3 4/4 measures, 4/4 measure rhythmic patterns, and then they have to write out the rhythm within the bar, and then the tonality discrimination, where the teacher will play a scale, and then they will have to circle or underline the correct term or the correct words that describe the type of scale that was played. And then we get into our joy journal. So this is something that the kids can fill out while they are rehearsing the piece. So like, let's say they come across this new word, crescendo, and they don't know what it means, or maybe they forget from time to time what it means. So they can come in and write in the definition. I advise to have them write in all the words, obviously. And then we get into the rhythm section of this journal. So they have to put the correct counting under each rhythm. These are the main 6 rhythms that are throughout the entire piece. And then we move into scale solfege. So they write the correct solfege for each scale underneath each note. So like do, re, mi, and so on and so forth underneath each letter. So we have the B flat mixolydian in both treble and bass, because I want them to think about, or like, yeah, get their brain thinking in both directions, treble and bass clef. So we have B flat mixolydian, B flat major, and then F mixolydian, and they all have the treble and bass clef. And then finally, we get into our warm-ups. So this is the B flat major. I know it just says scale work, but it's supposed to say B flat major scale. And then we have the B flat mixolydian, and then the F mixolydian. So they are all the same scale patterns. They're all in quarter notes from do to do, repeating do, and then back down. They all have the same arpeggio at the end, as well as they all have a whole note at the end of it as well. And then we get into long tones, which these are the main chords throughout the piece. And then we get into a chorale warm-up. So the rhythms that are in here are some of the main rhythms of the piece, actually just simplified down, compressed down a little bit, just to make it a little bit more lyrical and not so staccato-y as this piece is. It's very staccato and it is very marcato. So this is a very lyrical version of Joy, and a very short one at that. But that is my Joy unit plan. Thank you very, very much.